Rachel Bell, and this is Your Last Meal, the show where celebrities share stories about the foods they love most, and we dig into the history, culture, or science of these meals with experts from around the world. Today on the program, Sarah McLachlan.
You come back to me begging, why'd you leave? Tell me why. How could you let this go? Let it be.
Sarah's new album, Better Broken, won Adult Contemporary Album of the Year at the JUNOs in March. The JUNOs is Canada's version of the Grammys. Over her long career, Sarah has won 12 JUNOs, 3 Grammys, and she sold more than 40 million albums. She is also the founder of Lilith Fair. Last year, Hulu released a documentary called Lilith Fair, Building a Mystery. Sarah says she makes a mean green goddess salad dressing, which is how I found myself on a call with the granddaughter of the chef who invented Green Goddess more than 100 years ago. We will learn all about the dressing's star-studded history and the controversy surrounding its name. That's coming up later in the show. But first, my conversation with Sarah McLachlan.
Pretend that you're my savior. We both remember what we want to get us through the night. So don't come back to me.
From 1997 to 1999, Sarah McLachlan produced and performed at Lilith Fair, the iconic all-female traveling music festival that featured artists like Fiona Apple, Sheryl Crow, the Indigo Girls, Queen Latifah, Sinead O'Connor, Bonnie Raitt, Jewel, and many, many more. When she started talking about creating the festival, people, men, told her it would fail. They said nobody would come. They said she wouldn't sell tickets. But that first year in 1997, Lilith Fair grossed $16 million, the highest grossing touring festival of the year. And at that time, it was hard to book more than one female act on a concert. Radio stations didn't want to play back-to-back female artists. And then you have this huge festival and it's a big success. So I'm just wondering, in all these years and decades after, what has stayed with you? You know, how did that festival change your life and your career?
Well, getting to create a sense of community where there wasn't one before, getting to lift up a whole bunch of women and celebrate women felt amazing. Launching careers felt amazing. Launching my career felt amazing. All of us together got to play in front of so many more people than we would have on our own. So it was mutually beneficial. We got to leave an indelible mark in every city that we went into. We donated money to women's charities every place. So we, I think, really helped. And I think being able to use that platform for, positive social change felt really incredible on all those different levels. I took a lot of the money that I made from Lilith. I put it into a foundation, started the Sarah McLachlan School of Music here in Vancouver 25 years ago. And it was a pilot project, and it's completely free for at-risk and underserved children and youth. And now we have 3 schools over 3 cities, over 2,000 students a year, still completely free. That's the legacy of Lilith, and using music as a vehicle for building self-esteem and community. And, after so many years to watch the documentary and be reminded of the impact, because when you're in the middle of it, you don't necessarily have perspective. I mean, I knew we were changing the barometer. I knew things were moving and shifting. That being said, as soon as we were finished, I felt like the door kind of slammed shut and things shifted back again. But which is, that happens. Things are cyclical. But a ton of progress was made. And you look out today, particularly within the music industry, and women are dominating the charts. Women have an incredible amount of power, at least forward facing. I think behind the scenes, it's still very male dominated, but shifts have been made. And it's beautiful to see that progress. And considering what's going on in the world right now with not just the calling back of women's rights, but human rights, I think it's really important to put this documentary out to show young women in particular, but young people that, when you choose to band together to celebrate each other and lift each other up, powerful things happen. And if we want to move forward, we need to start building new systems that are more inclusive.
I'm going to stay in the past for one more question, because I was surprised to see that you have a cookbook that came out in 1999. It's called Plenty, a collection of Sarah McLachlan's favorite recipes. Tell me about this book.
Well, essentially, my friends started a publishing company, a little mini publishing company. They're like, we need books. You should do a cookbook. You love to cook. I had at the time this beautiful chef, Jamie Larita, who came on the road with me and was cooking this great vegetarian food and pescatarian. I was pescatarian at the time. And one of my best friends is a photographer, and her partner at the time was an art director. We were all sitting around one night. I was like, well, let's make a cookbook. This would be fun. And that's essentially how it happened. And then a couple of years later, all those cookbooks ended up, in a bargain bin. The publisher was like, we're not selling these, so we're going to put them in the bargain bin. I'm like, no, I can't. So I bought them all back.
Oh, smart.
So I had a whole garage full of cookbooks for a long time. And just over the years, I've been giving them out for, I get charity requests like once a week to, for bundles of stuff to sell at auction. And so I think I have like one box left, and then they're going to be all gone.
You have to keep a couple.
I have a couple. I have my own threadbare ones where.
Okay, good. I'm curious about some of the recipes because there are a couple in here that have your song titles in them, like Sweet Surrender Lobster and Full of Grace Souffle. What are some of your I know it was the 90s. I would have done that in the 90s too. What are some of the recipes that you still cook?
My great aunt Ruth's currant cake. That's a staple. It's so good. Although now I actually am going to try and redo it with some almond flour and see how that works. But the Caesar salad recipe is still on repeat, and the rhubarb pie. I still make that a lot. I make a lot of pies.
And was she making all these recipes for you when you're on the road, or is it a mix of her recipes and it sounds like your family recipes as well?
Jamie's actually a guy.
Oh, pardon me. Sorry.
That's okay. Yes, he was cooking a lot of these things for me on the road. It's a mix of his recipes, his family's recipes, and then the recipes that my great aunt Ruth passed down to my mom. And then a couple where I fell in love with, like the Caesar salad recipe was from, actually there was a place in Seattle, if I remember correctly. I can't remember it now, but I was like, what do I got to do to get this recipe for the Caesar salad dressing? It's so good. And they're like, I'll just give it to you. It's like, thank you. I said, I promise I won't do anything with it. That's not true. I published it.
Oops, I put it in a cookbook.
I changed a few things. I added a few things, but yeah.
Did you know that recipes can't be copywritten? It is totally legal to take someone's recipe, copy it word for word, whether it's from a cookbook, a magazine, a newspaper, or social media, and publish it as your own in another cookbook or magazine, newspaper, or social media. The photographs and the headnotes, which is the paragraph the author writes above the recipe, are protected by copyright law, but recipes are not. So it's not a legal issue, but it's definitely an ethical issue that is very much frowned upon in the recipe writing community. But what Sarah did is totally kosher. She changed a few things and made the recipe her own. I was told that you should change at least 3 things. And if you do copy someone's exact recipe, you're expected to give the author credit. There is a recipe in the book called Writer's Block Oatmeal Raisin Cookies. What is the story there?
Well, back then, whenever I couldn't write, which was often, I would bake cookies because it was a quick task that yielded a great outcome. I made these cookies. The house smells great. Everybody loves me. Everybody's happy because there's warm cookies. And so it was kind of like this immediate gratification that when I couldn't create, at least I could create these yummy cookies, and it would kind of give me a bit of a boost. Wouldn't necessarily pull me out of the writer's block, but it made me feel good. Made my tummy happy.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, were you suddenly flooded with ideas? But I think what you got going is even better.
Dopamine, serotonin, all those good things. Yeah.
Yeah. There was an article years ago in the New York Times about they created a word called procrastinating. And it's like a little bit similar.
I love that.
Yeah.
So true. Yes. I am a grand procrastinator, and baking was one of those big things where it's like, can't write, bake cookies.
Sarah's Writer's Block Oatmeal Raisin Cookies sound very cozy. The only sugar is brown sugar, so you get those caramely, molassesy notes, and warm spices like cinnamon, allspice, and cloves. If you want her recipe, I just looked online, and you can buy a used copy of Sarah's cookbook, Plenty. But I also found her cookie recipe on a couple of blogs. Coming up after the break, do Canadians have a different Thanksgiving meal than Americans? And we will learn what President Warren G. Harding's death, turkey tetrazzini, and green goddess salad dressing have in common? What would you choose to eat for your last meal?
Probably a Thanksgiving dinner with all the stuffing and the sweet potato and the gravy and the dark turkey meat and the pumpkin pie with a ton of whipped cream on it. Tryptophan coma. Just, it's the best. It's one of those, of course, we make it twice a year because we do Thanksgiving in October here. So we do it for that. And then we also do it at Christmas time. And it's a meal that becomes such a gathering. Everybody shows up for it, all the extended family. And it's an opportunity. Meals are an opportunity to come together and share and laugh. And so I think that's half the reason I love that meal so much. It fulfills everything good about food too.
I mean, I know we're neighbors, but I'm surprised that the American Thanksgiving menu is the same as the Canadian menu. Do you know, are there any dishes that are more traditional in Canada that we don't do here?
I would say it's pretty similar. I mean, we are the Pacific Northwest, so
yes,
we share a lot of commonalities. But actually, now that I think about it, I get 3 ties because I'll do Canadian Thanksgiving. I'll come down to Seattle for American Thanksgiving because all most of my family's in Washington area. Than Christmas. So I get it 3 times a year. And then what I love to do is make a ton of it. And then I do these shepherd's pies. So you put the meat on the bottom, you smother it with gravy, you put vegetables. I mean, it's a bit of a pig's breakfast. Put all the vegetables in there, then put the sweet potato mash on top and then bung them in the freezer. And so let's be honest. I mean, I probably have that meal 6 times a year.
Wow. October, November, December. It's all Thanksgiving all the time.
February, where it's still pissing rain and, dark at 5:30. You're like, I need some comfort food. And wow, it is a great comforting meal.
For her last meal, Sarah McLachlan wants a traditional Thanksgiving dinner. I looked around and around and around online, and I couldn't find any differences between the Canadian and American Thanksgiving meal. I was curious because you surf and you spend a lot of time in Tofino, which I have only been there once, but oh my God, what a gem. I was curious if there's something that you crave after you go surfing, because anytime you're working that hard in the water, you come out and you're so hungry.
It's true. I mean, there's almost anything works, but a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, on toasted sourdough. It's really good. I haven't eaten any bread in 3 months, so I've been completely off sugar for the last 3 months. Including simple carbs, just to try and get my biome pristine, get my immune system pristine, stay healthy on the road. So I have not had any Thanksgiving dinners anytime recently.
Blink twice if you're okay. Do you need me to mail you a loaf of sourdough bread?
Sourdough, yeah. Oh, I just look so lustingly after it. But I'm gonna ease back into it, but I'm really trying to be a little militant the last 3 months just to get everything really healthy. But yeah, I miss bread probably the most. It's really forced me to, try all sorts of different things. And I've sort of mastered this green goddess dressing, which is just, again, a pig's breakfast of all sorts of veggies and herbs that you put in there. And it goes on everything. And it's just so good. We're supposed to have like 30 different vegetables a week or whatever. If it doesn't bonkers, it's so hard. But I'm getting pretty good at it because I just throw all this stuff that's going here and have this beautiful green sauce, and then I kind of put it on everything.
I love this phrase, pig's breakfast. I'm going to start incorporating this into my vernacular.
Well, it's kind of like the kitchen sink,
Yeah.
Everything, whatever's in the fridge, and I'm a big proponent of emptying out the fridge. I don't like wasting food. So it's like I get inventive about stir fries and how to make things. It's like, oh, the veggies are almost off. It's like, well, they go in the dog food.
Does that mean that dressing is different every time because you're just using different things in the fridge?
It is. It's mostly like the basis is cilantro, parsley, mint, dill, spinach, apple cider vinegar. I usually put half an avocado, half an apple, a bunch of raw cashews. But honestly, it's whatever greens you've got. Put some lactose-free cottage cheese in last night. And
You're wild.
creamy goodness.
Between the name, its herbaceousness, and its healthful green glow, Green Goddess dressing sounds a little granola, a little hippy dippy, like a health food created in the 1970s. But that is not the case. Green Goddess was invented in 1923 at
the Palace Hotel, San Francisco.
That's Sasha Coca, host of the California Report magazine on KQED Radio in San Francisco. When the Palace opened in 1875, it was the biggest and tallest hotel in the Western United States, and San Francisco's first luxury hotel.
It's this really ornate, incredible architecture. You walk in and there's light and these golden pillars, and it's still an incredibly beautiful hotel, very historic hotel. And it's a place where a lot of celebrities throughout the years stayed. Visitors are still able to marvel at the architecture and at the cuisine. They have a really fancy kitchen. Back in the 1920s, there was a play called The Green Goddess that was touring. And when it came to San Francisco, the Palace Hotel decided to have a banquet for the star, whose name was George Arliss. He later went on to win Oscars and was voted Best Male Actor by the British moviegoers.
I think he's kind of like the Brad Pitt of the 1920s.
That's Julie Murray.
And I am the executive assistant to the general manager and the hotel manager at the Palace Hotel.
I don't want to be rude, but I looked up a picture of George Arliss, and he is no Brad Pitt.
No, he's truly not. He looks like he'd be playing like the Count of Monte Cristo or something. I don't know, something weird.
Maybe he had the fame, but not the face.
And so they decided to have this banquet for him, and they created a special salad dressing, and they called it the Green Goddess dressing after the play.
Before we continue, you should know that Julie isn't just an employee at the Palace Hotel.
My grandfather, Philip Romer, was the executive chef here from about 1920 to 1936 when he passed away. My grandfather said in honor of Arliss, he wanted to make a special salad dressing for him. And it was colored with all sorts of green herbs, so it would be reminiscent of the Green Goddess. But he wanted to name it the Arliss salad, and George Arliss said, no. And so they named it the Green Goddess. And it's funny because I have the original recipe, and it's like 1 piece of young onion, a little parsley, and tarragon. Rub the bowl with garlic. Use a little garlic flavored oil. Mix the above with 3 cups of mayonnaise, a little capers, tarragon vinegar, and finally cut chives. There's no measurements. So years later, another cook took it on and boiled it down to what she thought the right proportions were. And it's changed over the years, much to my family's chagrin, but we still have the original, and I've made it myself several times, and it's really good. So that's how it came to be.
So why is it to your family's chagrin?
Because that's our grandfather's recipe. Don't mess with it. It has mayonnaise in it. Like a lot of times I'll see an article in a paper or magazine. People say, let's use Greek yogurt instead. And it's just like, no, that's not it. So, I mean, sorry, but I guess we're just not as forward thinking as other people. I think they were just trying to make it healthy, but I like the tradition of the recipe. It's a very tarragon forward recipe. And some of them, you can't even taste the tarragon. So I like to keep it the way it was.
Yeah, when I think of Green Goddess salad dressing, I think tarragon is the main ingredient as well. I feel like you can't leave that out because that's kind of the distinguishing flavor.
Right. And I mean, in addition to tarragon, they use tarragon vinegar. So it's a lot. And some people don't like tarragon. I get that. So maybe that's why they changed it up. It's funny because years ago in the San Francisco Chronicle, there was a recipe and, I wrote to them and said, that's not it. Here's the real one. It was like, just get it right.
I think that's important, though. Even if the recipe has changed, it's important to have it in history what the original was. Nerds like me want to know what the original was. There's a lot of us who are just curious about the history of a food.
Yeah, well, I can scan the recipe and send it to you, and if you'd like.
I would love that. Julie sent me the Palace Hotel's current recipe. It starts with blending egg yolks and anchovies with fresh tarragon, parsley, and chives. Then Dijon mustard, capers, chopped shallots, garlic, and tarragon vinegar get mixed in. Then the whole thing gets blended while oil is slowly drizzled in to create a creamy emulsion. Julie doesn't like how much the recipe has changed, but on paper, they're not so far apart. She mentioned that the original is made with mayonnaise, but the modern recipe blends oil with egg yolks, which is basically homemade mayonnaise. I'm seeing a few differences. The addition of Dijon and capers, using shallots instead of spring onion, blending garlic into the dressing instead of just rubbing a clove inside the bowl, and the modern version is blended, not mixed, which gives it that lovely, vibrant green color. The original Green Goddess was served over a salad of romaine, escarole, and chicory.
They used to serve it with the delicacy of canned artichokes, which was, very exotic at the time. And now it comes with this delicious crab salad and this super herbaceous dressing.
That salad is served at the Palace's restaurant, Garden Court. And when I was reading the ingredients, I was thinking, did they make this salad for me? Because it's kind of my dream salad. Grilled corn, avocado, cara orange, sugar snap peas, heirloom cherry tomato, little gem lettuce, purple cabbage, Central Valley pistachio crumble, fresh herbs, and crab.
It's amazing. If you ever come, you should really try it. It's delicious.
I would love to. They also serve it along steak frites and airline chicken breast with Parmesan garlic smashed fingerlings, honey glazed Brussels sprouts, and chimichurri.
We have what we call Epicurean moments every afternoon here at the hotel for our guests. They have what they call a Green Goddess refresher, and it's kind of like a Green Goddess smoothie, and then they serve crudité. So it's kind of fun.
When you say a smoothie, is it they make it like a drink?
Yeah, they make it like a drink.
Is it savory or does it have sweetness to it?
I'd say it's more savory. I mean, it's not like drinking a glass of the salad dressing. Maybe it's like they're mixed with cucumber water or something. I don't know the recipe.
So in 1923, that's more than 100 years ago, how did this recipe spread and when did it become something that the rest of the country knew about?
Well, my grandfather taught cooking classes here at the Palace, and he also had like a little column in the San Francisco Call. So he would publish his recipes in there. So it was spread around that way. Then, like in the 1970s, the salad dressing company 7C's got their hands on it and made Green Goddess salad dressing. And I remember as a kid, I was like, why aren't we rich? It's like I keep seeing this commercial for Green Goddess, and it's like, shouldn't we have some of that profit?
And I also saw that 1950, it was bottled by Nally. In 1967, it was bottled by Wishbone. I'm curious if the dressing would have become something famous if it didn't have that name. Not because it's not delicious, but the name is just so good. And if it was just the Arliss, I don't know if it would have spread across the country.
No, I don't think so either. I think that it's a much better title for it.
But unfortunately, the name Green Goddess has nefarious associations. Sasha reported a story back in 2018 titled The San Francisco Origins of Green Goddess Dressing.
Essentially, there was a play called The Green Goddess, later became a film, first a silent film in 1923, and then a talkie in 1930, all starring George Arliss. The film and the play are really problematic because the plot is that 3 Brits end up in a plane crash somewhere in the Himalayas, and they find themselves in a kingdom ruled by a Maharaja played by George Arliss. And the people in this kingdom worship a sort of Hollywoodized, stereotyped deity called the Green Goddess. It's essentially a mockery of Hinduism and of South Asian culture. Here was George Arliss in brownface, speaking with a clipped British sort of mocking Indian accent, pretending to be a Maharaja, and all of these white actors in brownface running around. They're actually called savages in the film. And I have to say, as somebody with South Asian heritage, who also loves Green Goddess dressing and puts it on everything and grew up eating salads with it, it was really unsavory for me to learn this history. It was shocking to me too.
How did you find out about this?
Well, we did a series for our show called Golden State Plate about iconic food and drink that got its start in California. And there's so many things. I mean, the Mai Tai, the fortune cookie, so many things were invented in California. And I was really excited about green goddess dressing because I was a vegetarian for so many years. And, you know, as a kind of hippie teenager, I loved it. And I thought, ooh, cool. I want to find out the origin of this. And I ended up, Googling basically the words green goddess and finding out that there was this film. And I didn't know if it had any connection to the salad dressing, but I watched the talkie version of the film and it just kind of felt nauseous. I was like, whoa, this is a horrible racist film. I didn't realize that there was a connection to the salad dressing, though, until I went to the Palace Hotel and found out that, yes, indeed, they had a banquet for the actor George Arliss in the 1920s, and that this was really the connection. That part of the history has kind of been erased. The film is on YouTube. You can watch it.
So what do we do with information like this? Obviously, it's not okay, but at that time it was. I mean, we have the same thing with Breakfast at Tiffany's and having a white famous actor playing a very racist portrayal of a Japanese landlord. It's not the salad dressing's fault. What do we do?
I know. It is really problematic. Not eating green goddess dressing is not necessarily going to correct that, though. And I think it would be responsible, especially in a city like San Francisco, to put something out there just saying, at the time, this was a play that had stereotypes in it and was problematic. I doubt they'll do it, though, because a big part of their reputation and their fame rests on being the birthplace of green goddess dressing. And so I'm conflicted. I'm really conflicted because I love the dressing. I actually thought that the version of it at the Palace Hotel was the best I'd ever had. But there's this unsavory history.
Green goddess salad dressing isn't the Palace Hotel's only legacy. President Warren G. Harding died in the hotel the same year the dressing was created. But Julie was quick to emphasize that the dressing had nothing to do with his death. And some say turkey tetrazzini was also invented at the Palace Hotel, named in honor of the famous opera singer Luisa Tetrazzini in the early 1900s. This one may or may not be true. A few other restaurants in New York have also taken credit. When we come back, Sarah's daughter pops in to drop a quick sick burn on her mother's cooking. You grew up in Halifax, Nova Scotia. You were adopted. All of your siblings were adopted. I'm curious what the food culture was like in your house. Who cooked? Good food, bad food?
Interesting food. My mom was on a very, very strict budget. She cooked. There was a lot of hamburger helper, turkey casseroles. On occasion, we have a pot roast. There was a lot of chili. I think we're all incredibly ungrateful.
I think all kids are about eating, though. You don't get a lot of compliments as a parent.
She resented the hell out of having to cook all those meals for us. And I get it. We were thankless little shits. That being said, she would make meatloaf once every 2 weeks and she wouldn't saute the onions first.
Just these crunchy little bombs.
Crunchy. No, not crunchy. Just wilted worms.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And, she was of the, boil it and fry it kind of, the Chatelaine cookbook, actually, which I still have, which has some good recipes in it. But, there wasn't a lot of nuance. She had 10 things that she made kind of on repeat. And some of them were good and some of them were just but she was a great baker. I wasn't allowed near the kitchen when she was cooking. So I decided I did not learn my cooking from her, but I got all the recipes from her, which she had brought from my great aunt Ruth. So a lot of good recipes.
What do you think your daughters would say if they were asked this question later in life? You know, what is the food that defined your childhood? What did you love that your mom made? What would they say?
Do you want me to go ask her?
Oh, you can, sure.
Hey, Todd. No, but that's not necessarily a good thing, right? Did that scar you? Yeah. Up and down, don't you?
Salmon. All its iterations, yeah. I cooked a lot of salmon. Yeah. And now they love it, but they hated it back then. And
I was going to say, I heard, did I scar you? So this was too much salmon?
it wasn't that much, but she's like, oh, you ever made salad? I hate it so much. I'm like, it's so good for you. And it's so tasty. Now they love it. But now being away from home for a year, they love my cooking.
We said the same with our mom, like in the 80s, chicken again, too much chicken. I think salmon is the modern chicken.
Yes, exactly.
You haven't released an album in 11 years. What can people expect?
Well, it's still inherently me, but I think it's got a new kind of groovy vibe. I branched out and worked with two new producers, Tony Berg and McLachlan. So it's got quite a different sound because of them. And I'm incredibly proud of it. I love it so much. We're going on tour this summer. We're going to be playing Chateau Ste. Michel for a couple of nights. Those are the last two shows of the tour. But I'm fully aware that my fans aren't that familiar with the new stuff. So though I'm going to be playing probably 6 or 7 songs from that, I'm going to be also going back and spanning almost 40 years. I asked my fans on Instagram what they wanted to hear. And then resoundingly, it was songs from the first and second record. So I'm going to play those for the first time in probably 20 years.
And are your daughters singing a little bit on this new record?
Yeah, they both my girls have beautiful voices. They don't sing. I got them to sing on One in a Long Line, which was actually a song that Anne Previn and I wrote in the very last stages of making the record. So it was sort of a last minute decision to get them to sing on it. So we recorded those on an iPhone.
Oh, really?
And I wish I could have spent more time and said, can you sing a harmony? Because their voices would be heard more. But because we're all singing in unison together, we sound a little bit the same. But I can hear them. So the fact that they're on there and singing with me in this multi-generational and for the subject matter, it's a beautiful thing.
When you come back from a tour, when you've been gone a long time, and now that I know that you've been eating super healthy, is there something that you crave that you missed your kitchen you want to make, or just something you miss from home?
Well, there is no kitchen on the road for me. So the older I get and the more cleanly I like to eat and feel good about eating, it's hard to go to restaurants anymore, unless I love sushi. Like that's something that I'm not going to make at home and it still feels clean. But I mean, honestly, the last couple of times I've gone out to eat and I've been they can be really great restaurants, but I don't feel good afterwards. It feels so heavy, right? And I think that's because I'm eating so clean. And I love cooking at home. So to be able to roast butternut squash and a whole bunch of vegetables and just drizzle some salt and olive oil and salt and pepper on them, it's just like, that's heaven to me. So honestly, it's just getting back in the kitchen and nesting and cooking. I can't wait. I'm already thinking about it, and it's like, okay, what am I going to do when I go out on the road? And we have great options now. Whole Foods is amazing, and there's lots of great small groceries that you can buy a bunch of fresh stuff and great hummus. And I'm happy as a clam eating a big plate of raw vegetables and hummus.
And that was Sarah McLachlan's last meal. Sarah is on tour now. Get tickets to a show at sarahmclachlan.com or find a link in the show notes. Her new album is called Better Broken. Thanks to Julie Murray at the Palace Hotel. Has your family worked there this whole time, or are you the one who came back?
I am the only person who has worked here since my grandfather. I used to be in corporate retail and in nonprofit. And when the pandemic happened, I lost my job. I saw that there was an opening here, and I said, this is a perfect place for me to end my career. It was funny, the general manager at the time, as soon as he heard my history, I don't think he even looked at my resume.
You're hired.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks to Sasha Coca, host of the California Report magazine on KQED, San Francisco's NPR station. And on the TV side, they're PBS. KQED TV is where I watched Sesame Street when I was a kid. Your Last Meal is a product of Seattle's Cascade PBS. Go to cascadepbs.org to become a member, and for as little as $7 a month, you'll get on-demand access to all PBS programming. Season 3 of my food and drink storytelling show, The Nosh, is streaming now. You can watch all 8 episodes and the first 2 seasons for free at cascadepbs.org or search The Nosh with Rachel Bell on YouTube. And if you happen to be flying Alaska Airlines, it's also in their in-flight entertainment. The Nosh is beautifully shot by PBS documentary filmmakers, and episodes are super diverse. We explore some of Seattle's Japanese and Filipino-inspired pizzas. I introduce you to an Ethiopian coffee ceremony that you can experience in Seattle's Pike Place Market. And we went down to Portland, Oregon, so I could help create a brand new zero-waste salt and straw ice cream flavor with one of the founders, using ingredients that were rescued before they ended up in a dumpster. Find a link to watch The Nosh in the show notes. This episode was produced by me and senior producer Sarah Bernard, who also mixed and mastered it. Original theme music by Prom Queen. I'm Rachel Bell, and this is Your Last Meal.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? My goodness, you look like a DJ.
Oh, I do? I used to be a DJ a long time ago.